Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Flow Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak English naturally, smoothly, and with confidence. I am Amy.
And I'm Jack. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today. If you are listening to us while driving, walking the dog, or sitting with a warm cup of tea, welcome. Today, we are tackling a topic that we get asked about more than anything else. It is the holy grail of language learning: how to speak English confidently.
Oh, confidence. It's that invisible magic switch, isn't it? So many language learners tell us, Amy, Jack, I know the grammar rules. I can read English books perfectly. I can understand movies. But the moment I open my mouth to speak to a native speaker, my mind goes completely blank.
The classic mind blank. We actually have a name for that feeling in psychology and language coaching, don't we? It's like a sudden mental freeze. Your heart rate goes up, your palms get sweaty, and it feels like every single English word you've ever learned has suddenly packed its bags and left your brain.
Exactly. It's like a temporary eviction of vocabulary. Today, we want to break down exactly why that happens, and more importantly, give you actionable, real-world strategies to overcome that fear, boost your self-esteem, and find your voice.
And just like last time, we are going to be using a wealth of idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, and high-frequency vocabulary related to confidence, communication, and mindset. So sit back, relax, and let's unlock that confidence together.
Let's start with a little self-reflection, Jack. Have you ever had to learn a foreign language and felt that exact same paralyzing fear?
Oh, absolutely. When I was trying to learn Spanish a few years ago, I remember walking into a small cafe in Madrid. I had practiced my order in my head about 50 times. I knew exactly what to say. But when the barista looked at me and asked, "What can I get you?" in rapid-fire Spanish, I completely choked. I stammered, mumbled something incoherent, and pointed at a pastry like a toddler.
To choke. That is a brilliant phrasal verb and idiom combined. To choke in a high-pressure situation means to fail to perform because you are feeling incredibly nervous. Athletes do it, public speakers do it, and language learners do it all the time.
It's completely natural. But the good news is, confidence isn't something you are either born with or you aren't. It is a skill that can be trained. It's like a muscle. The more you work it out, the stronger it gets. So, Amy, let's jump into our very first core strategy for building that English muscle.
Strategy number 1 is all about a mindset shift. We need to completely redefine what it means to speak a language successfully. Many learners have this false belief that to speak English confidently, they must speak it perfectly. They think a single grammatical mistake means failure.
That is such a trap, isn't it? This perfectionist mindset is actually the biggest enemy of fluency. When you are constantly checking your internal grammar book before saying a sentence, you destroy the natural flow of conversation.
Precisely. So here is the secret. Communication is about connection, not perfection. The primary goal of language is to get your point across. It's to share an idea, an emotion, or information. If you use the wrong preposition, or if you forget to put an S at the end of a third-person verb, but the other person still understands exactly what you mean, guess what? You have successfully communicated.
Let's highlight that phrase, to get your point across. That is an essential phrasal verb in English. It means to successfully manage to make people understand what you were trying to say. For example, even though his vocabulary was limited, he managed to get his point across beautifully.
I love that. And you know what else, Jack? Native speakers really do not care about minor grammatical errors. Think about it. When someone speaks to you in broken English with a thick accent, do you judge them? Do you think, oh, their past perfect tense was incorrect?
Never. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When I meet someone speaking English as a second or third language, I am deeply impressed. I think, wow, this person is incredibly brave and smart for navigating a completely different linguistic world. Native speakers are focusing on what you are saying, not how perfectly you are saying it.
Exactly. So, step one to building confidence is to give yourself some grace. Drop the expectation of being flawless. Accept that mistakes are not only okay, they are actually a mandatory part of the learning process.
Yes, you have to embrace the mistakes. If you aren't making mistakes, you aren't pushing your boundaries. Think of mistakes as data. Every time you make an error and realize it or get gently corrected, your brain updates its linguistic software. Now, let's talk about a very practical way to lower that anxiety in conversation, which is using filler words and stalling tactics. Oh, filler words are an absolute lifesaver for language learners. When native speakers are thinking of what to say next, we don't just stand there in absolute silence. We use sounds and words to keep the floor. To keep the floor means to maintain your turn to speak so that the other person doesn't interrupt you while you are organizing your thoughts. What are some of your favorite filler words, Jack? Well, words like, to be honest, or phrases like, that's a really interesting question. Or even, let me think about that for a second. Those phrases are pure gold. They buy you precious seconds to gather your thoughts without causing an awkward silence. If you say, well, let me think about that for a moment, it signals to the listener that you are preparing an answer, which takes the pressure right off your shoulders. Now, moving on to our second major strategy, preparation. While spontaneous conversation is the ultimate goal, you can significantly boost your confidence by preparing for specific scenarios ahead of time. We like to call this scripting.
Scripting is a game changer. Think about the situations where you feel the most anxious speaking English. Is it introducing yourself at a networking event? Is it ordering food at a restaurant? Is it answering the phone at work? Or maybe dealing with customer service?
Whatever it is, you can actually anticipate about 80% of what will be said in those interactions. If you know you have an important phone call tomorrow, don't just wing it.
To wing it. Let's explain that idiom. To wing it means to do something without any preparation, improvising as you go. While it can be fun sometimes, if you already suffer from a lack of confidence, winging it can cause major anxiety.
Exactly. So instead of winging it, take 10 minutes the night before to write down a rough script. Write down your opening line, how you want to state your purpose, and a few questions you might need to ask. Read it aloud a few times until it feels comfortable in your mouth.
This is what we call muscle memory for speech. Your vocal cords, your tongue, and your lips need to practice physical movements to make certain sounds smoothly. By practicing your script aloud in the comfort of your own home, you are training those muscles so that when the real moment arrives, the words roll off your tongue much more easily.
Roll off your tongue, another fantastic idiom. It means that words are very easy and natural to say.
But what happens if the conversation goes completely off script, Jack? Because life is unpredictable, right? What if the other person says something you completely didn't expect?
That is where your clarification phrases come into play. Part of being a confident speaker is being confident enough to admit when you didn't understand something. Confident speakers don't just pretend to understand and nod along blindly while feeling lost. They take control of the conversation.
I love that. It is so empowering to realize you are allowed to ask for help. Instead of panicking, you can use phrases like, "Could you say that again a bit more slowly, please? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that last part. What do you mean by that exactly? If I understand you correctly, you mean..."
Those phrases change the dynamic entirely. They turn a stressful interrogation into a collaborative dialogue. "I didn't quite catch that" is a wonderful, highly natural phrasal verb alternative to just saying, "I didn't hear you." It sounds sophisticated and polite.
And it shows that you are actively listening and engaged. Most people will be more than happy to rephrase, slow down, or explain a word you don't know. People love being helpful.
All right, so we've covered mindset shifts and tactical preparation. Now let's talk about daily habits. How do you practice speaking confidently when you don't live in an English-speaking country, or if you don't have anyone to talk to?
This is a classic dilemma. A lot of our listeners tell us, I have no one to practice with. But the truth is, in the digital age, you can build your very own immersion bubble right wherever you are. And my absolute favorite solo speaking technique is called shadowing.
Oh, shadowing is incredibly effective. Can you break down exactly how our listeners can do it?
Of course. Shadowing is an advanced language learning technique where you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say with as little delay as possible. You are essentially acting like an echo. You try to copy their exact pronunciation, their rhythm, their tone, and where they pause.
It's almost like singing along to a song, but with spoken words. You can use a podcast like ours, a YouTube video, a movie clip, or a TED Talk. Select a short audio clip, maybe just 1 or 2 minutes long, and try to shadow it repeatedly.
What this does is it forces your brain to step away from reading and translating text. It forces you to focus entirely on the melody of the language. English is a stress-timed language, which means it has a natural beat. Shadowing helps you internalize that beat, which automatically makes you sound more confident and natural when you speak.
Another great daily habit for solo practice is talking to yourself. Now, I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but hear me out.
Hey, we all talk to ourselves in our heads anyway, right? We might as well do it out loud in English.
Exactly. When you are at home alone, cooking dinner, cleaning, or getting ready for bed, narrate your life in English. Say things like, okay, right now I am chopping some onions. I need to find the salt. Where did I put the salt? Oh, here it is. Now I'm going to preheat the oven.
That is an exceptional exercise because it bridges the gap between your thoughts and your voice. It trains your brain to instantly translate an action or an idea into spoken English without the pressure of an audience. There is no one there to judge you, so you can let your guard down completely.
To let your guard down. That means to relax and stop feeling defensive or anxious. When you are alone in your room, your guard is fully down. You can make silly mistakes, mispronounce words, laugh at yourself, and just experiment with the language.
And once you get comfortable talking to yourself, you can start leveraging technology. There are so many incredible AI tools, language exchange apps, and online communities available now. You can chat with an AI voice assistant, join an English-speaking hobby group online, or find a conversation partner who wants to learn your native language.
The key here is consistency over intensity. It is infinitely better to practice speaking for 10 minutes every single day than it is to sit in an intensive 3-hour English class once every 2 weeks. Regular daily exposure keeps the language active in the front of your brain.
Now, Jack, let's touch upon something that people often completely overlook when it comes to speaking a foreign language confidently: body language and physiology.
Oh, this is fascinating stuff. Communication isn't just about the words that come out of your mouth. It's an entire physical package.
Absolutely. Your posture and your physical presence actually send signals to your brain about how safe or confident you should feel. There is a famous concept called power posing, made popular by social psychologist Amy Cuddy. If you stand tall, pull your shoulders back, open up your chest, and take up space, your body actually decreases cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases testosterone, which boosts confidence.
Wow, so you can literally fake it till you make it?
To a certain degree, yes. If you enter a conversation slouching, looking at the floor, crossing your arms tightly, and whispering, you are reinforcing to your brain that you are in danger. That triggers the anxiety response, making it even harder to speak.
So the next time you have to speak English, check your posture. Stand up straight or sit upright. Make comfortable eye contact, and most importantly, speak louder.
Yes. When people are nervous, they naturally tend to mumble or whisper. But when you mumble, it's much harder for the other person to understand you, which might make them ask you to repeat yourself. And that can hurt your confidence even more.
It's a vicious cycle. If you speak with a clear, resonant voice at a normal volume, you project authority and certainty, even if your grammar isn't completely perfect.
And don't forget to slow down. Nervous speakers often speak incredibly fast because they want to finish their sentences as quickly as possible and escape the spotlight. But speaking too fast leads to pronunciation slips and mental exhaustion. Take a deep breath, pace yourself, and allow yourself to pause. Pausing is a sign of a confident speaker.
Now, Jack, let's touch upon something that people often completely overlook when it comes to speaking a foreign language confidently: body language and physiology.
Oh, this is fascinating stuff. Communication isn't just about the words that come out of your mouth, it's an entire physical package. This has been an incredibly rich discussion, Amy. Building confidence is a journey, not an overnight transformation, but every single step forward counts.
It truly does. Let's do a quick wrap-up of the core pillars of confidence we discussed today, so our listeners can carry them into their week.
First, we talked about shifting your mindset. Prioritize connection over perfection. Your goal is to get your point across, not to be a walking grammar textbook.
Second, use filler words to keep the floor and buy yourself time to gather your thoughts.
Third, prepare for specific situations by scripting them beforehand, and equip yourself with clarification phrases so you can confidently ask for help when needed.
Fourth, create an immersion bubble at home by shadowing audio clips and narrating your daily life out loud to train your vocal muscles.
And finally, don't forget the physical side. Stand tall, breathe deeply, look people in the eye, and slow down your pace of speech.
To end today's episode, we want to issue a little challenge to all of our listeners out there. Sometime this week, we want you to intentionally step out of your comfort zone.
Yes, record a 1-minute voice note of yourself talking about your favorite hobby or your plans for the weekend. Listen back to it, not to criticize yourself, but to appreciate your own voice. Or, if you feel brave enough, leave us a comment on our social platforms using some of the vocabulary we taught you today.
You have the knowledge inside you. Now, it's just time to trust yourself and let it out.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the English Flow podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember to believe in yourself, keep practicing, and just let your English flow.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye-bye.